Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And Altus Plateau shared this with me earlier today. This comes from Uphold. The next boom isn't about coins alone. It's about real-world assets reshaping finance. And with that, adoption scales. Tech gets faster, cheaper, smoother. Take a listen to Sergey from Chainlink.
Our industry is going to boom through the merging of DeFi and TradFi. We're going to be looking at tens of trillions of dollars in market cap. We're going to reach a point where the majority of that market cap is not cryptocurrencies, but actually real world assets like stable coins, tokenized funds, tokenized equities, tokenized commodities. That will naturally redefine what our industry is, because it will no longer be about idea coins or coins related to digital gold or Bitcoin or something. They will now be about real world assets. Our industry will become about real world assets more than cryptocurrencies, just by the numbers. And that will lead to a polishing of the technology to the point where it will become low cost and easy to adopt it for all those other use cases, like ad networks, supply chains, insurance, concert tickets, real estate, and so on.
And that's what I've been saying this entire time. Once real-world assets start to pick up momentum and stablecoins pick up momentum, it's going to make Bitcoin less relevant. And that's exactly what he said there as well. But if it's going to be all about real-world assets, where does that leave XRP and Link as well? The difference between XRP and Link: XRP moves money, but it can move anything of value. Fast, cheap, cross-border payments, banks plus remittances, and the XRP ledger handles 1,500 transactions per second. It can actually handle more than that already, and when you add in interledger protocol, it's trillions of transactions per second. Link moves data. Oracle Network feeding real-world data to blockchains, powers DeFi, smart contracts. Link pays node operators and secures data. XRP is a money bridge, and Link is a data bridge. So let's get back to real-world assets. So say a person wants to move a real-world asset from point A to point B. They could utilize XRP to move that tokenized asset, and Link would move the data that is involved in that transaction. So that shows you how Link and XRP will complement each other. You know, everybody thinks that it's Link versus XRP, and it's not. They have two totally different use cases. But as we see the amping up of real-world assets, we're going to see both Link and XRP benefit off of that over time. This comes from Zach Rector. XRP pre-ETF rally $4 to $7 by October 17th. Whenever you put a date on something, you could never expect that to happen. I honestly think we will see a $4 XRP sooner than the middle of October. I think we're going to start to see XRP move up in price because we're going to see people positioning ahead of those ETFs. But we're also, right now, what is going on? We're seeing a lot of these companies creating XRP treasuries already. And it seems like it's a weekly announcement now that another company decides to start an XRP treasury. I expect that to continue throughout the rest of this year. And we're going to see more and more companies doing that. But it could be any type of catalyst that could get XRP moving. It could be real-world events even. But what's the narrative right now? Everybody's saying September is going to be the worst month for crypto. And if that's the narrative, usually the market tends to go in the opposite direction. So who knows? Maybe September will be a very bullish month. You got to wait and see how it plays out because nobody could call this market 100%. And this comes from Ashley Prosper. The other day, I showed you this clip of Caitlin Long talking about Ripple being involved in legalized corruption, paying to play in the United States. But the one thing I didn't mention was this. Ripple didn't deny you a Fed Master account. So why you keep whining and whining about Ripple is beyond me. Nothing stopped you from lobbying and donating. It's only your own arrogance that caused you to fail. The XRP community supported Custodia Bank, and now we don't. And you see it right here. Tell us what you need, and we'll do our best to help. XRP Army. We help Ripple. We helped LBRY. Sad about the result. We're helping Coinbase, Binance, and Custodia. And all of a sudden, she turned on the XRP community and Ripple. You know why? Because she thought that it was going to be Bitcoin only in Washington. And instead, the president gave a level playing field. XRP was included in the strategic reserve. Now imagine if this was to happen. Imagine Ripple getting that bank license fast-tracked. Oh, that would absolutely, she would be on a full-blown rant all over X. And there's a chance that could happen. Under an emergency situation, they can fast-track this and Ripple will get that charter. Now, people are saying this could take up to like February 2026. I personally think it's going to go the distance. Anything in Washington seems to go until the full and up until the last day, and then it gets approved. But Ripple is getting this bank license. That's going to happen because the elites are already going to make this happen. They're going to position Ripple as a bank. I even think Ripple can emerge as a central bank at some point in the future. XRP Ledger records new $131.6 million all-time high in this major market. It's the real-world asset market cap. XRP Ledger closes quarter two with $131.6 million. This is very, very early still. We have not even seen real-world asset tokenization pick up momentum yet. That's expected to happen with regulations later this year. The quicker they get regulations in place in the United States, the quicker we will see the boom for real-world assets. But it's nice to see we're already seeing inflows of real-world assets on the XRP ledger. And I don't understand why Bitcoin maxis cannot stop talking about XRP. But this guy is truly unhinged. Take a listen.
Tulip mania. I will remind everyone, okay? Don't listen to that bullshit story. All you hear is the tulips. The entire flower market in the world still transacts through the Netherlands.
Correct.
Bitcoin is the platform.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys talking about? I don't care if XRP crashes. Okay, that's the tulip. There's a platform of flowers that are traded around the world, and it all happens in tulip land. Like, that's a big deal, man. But what do you hear? Oh, tulip crash. What do you mean tulip crash, dude? All the flowers still trade through there, okay?
The one-time tulip crash, by the way.
And why do they have to mention XRP? You ever take notice to that? They're shilling Bitcoin. They're talking about how Bitcoin is going to get all this adoption. And at the same time, they cannot stop talking about XRP. You know why? Because they see it as the biggest threat in this space. And that's not going to go away. As XRP keeps gaining more and more momentum and more adoption, their whole dream fades away as that happens. It's just a matter of time until XRP is the #1 cryptocurrency. But not all Bitcoin maxis think that way. Global payments are failing. Bitcoin Treasury CEO Elliot Johnson affirms XRP is the answer, fast, borderless, and built for the future. The outdated system is collapsing. XRP stands as the bridge to a new era of finance. You know, some Bitcoin people, some Bitcoin maxis, they're finally starting to see that it's not just going to be Bitcoin. They're starting to realize that Bitcoin is just another cryptocurrency, because that's what it is. There's nothing special about it. They try to separate it from the rest of the crypto space to make it seem special, but it's really not. And now a lot of these Bitcoin maxis are starting to shift towards XRP. And if it's not XRP, it's usually Solana. Some end up in Ethereum. But the fact that, you know, the OG Bitcoin holders are selling off, it's because they don't like the direction this is going in. On one hand, you're fighting the U.S. government. Remember, Bitcoin's going to replace the U.S. dollar and the banks. On the other hand, they want the U.S. government to buy Bitcoin to bail out their bags. It's like a double standard. And if the U.S. government mentions any other cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin, that's because this space is tribal and people are paying to play in the United States. It's such a hypocritical thought, but it's because they have so much fear of XRP. Ripple positioned to outlast Swift and Bitcoin. Plus, XRP is designed for the next 70 years. Read closely. Ripple could survive as it is a better version of Swift and Bitcoin network, and it could be used by traditional financial organizations for advanced experience of the current service industry. What's going on is this. If Ripple is going to replace Swift, that's going to be the next 70 years. That's going to be the financial system that everybody runs on for the next 70 plus years. Bitcoin's not going to be around in 70 years. You know, at some point, it's going to be on the road to irrelevance, and people are going to hold it like a collector's item more than an investment. That will happen over time. And it will most likely happen as Ripple replaces Swift and becomes the new financial system. This has all been put in motion long before any of us ever invested into crypto. Despite 55 million Americans already using crypto, many remain on the sidelines. We surveyed non-holders to understand why. Turns out 55% say the research process feels overwhelming. You know, nobody likes to do their own research. But when it comes to XRP, you could explain it very easily. You just tell people it's built to move anything of value from point A to point B. There's 100 billion tokens because it's built to serve 8 billion plus people. And you explain how even if they don't believe the idea of a cryptocurrency moving money around the world or moving value around the world, that if they invest in it now, over the course of the next couple of months, they could make a hell of a lot of money. Everybody's going to make money in this space throughout the rest of this year. And it's just a matter of when XRP starts to take off. But this whole space is going to take off. Bitcoin still has another run up in it. And all these altcoins, they're all going to run together. I still expect utility-driven cryptocurrencies to eventually start running on utility. And when that happens, we will end up in a utility run. But I think most of what keeps people out of crypto, it's not so much the research process. I think what really keeps people out is their lack of belief in this system. If they can't hold it in their hand, to them, it's not real. If they can't spend it the way that you walk in a store with a $20 bill, It's not real to them. But we are getting to the point where everything's going to run on blockchain and crypto. You're better off investing now while you're still early, or later chasing green candles because you didn't want to listen to the people telling you this is the greatest opportunity in your lifetime. All you got to do is invest a little bit of money, sit back, and wait for it to happen. But most people don't see it that way. But they will all see it that way once the green candles show up, is what I'm saying. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.